Since the start of bin Salman's anti-corruption campaign, more than 200 people have been arrested and placed in a luxury detention. The turn of events is unprecedented in Saudi history, and many are referring to November 4th as the Night of the Long Knives, which is a euphemism for the Nazi purge in 1934 that consolidated Hitler's absolute hold on power in Germany. Among the detainees were senior princes, ministers, and financial figures. The highest-ranking arrested figure is Prince Mutaib, the son of the former king and a former crown prince candidate himself. The prince was removed as the head of the Saudi National Guard, which is a parallel military force to the regular armed forces under the Ministry of Defense. Prince Mutaib and bin Salman shared responsibility for the armed forces of Saudi Arabia. However, with Prince Mutaib out of the picture, bin Salman is free to extend his control to all of the country's security departments. Another major figure in the crackdown is Prince Al Walid, the CEO of Kingdom Holding Company and a major investor in companies such as Twitter and Citigroup. Although Prince Al Walid has rarely expressed an interest in politics, his father, however, Prince Talal, nicknamed the Red Prince, is a well-known liberal who advocates for a true national constitution. The political standpoint of Prince Talal is in opposition to the policy of King Salman and Crown Prince bin Salman. Thus, by detaining Prince Al Walid, bin Salman hopes to keep the Red Prince in check. Other high-profile names that were detained include Prince Turki, the former governor of Riyadh, Bakr bin Laden, the CEO of the construction conglomerate Saudi Bin Laden Group, and Prince Fahd, the former deputy defense minister, and many more. There are even allegations that Prince Abdulaziz died during a gunfight resisting arrest. The list of detainees is too long to go over, but the point is that every involved person posed either a direct or indirect threat to bin Salman. Thus, by using populist measures, such as an anti-corruption crackdown, the Crown Prince has weakened the political opposition and strengthened his popular approval. In this context, we are seeing a shift from the historical pillars of the Saudi government. Ever since the Saudi tribe defeated the Hashemites and annexed the exterior parts of the West Arabian Peninsula in the 1920s, the country has been ruled by the elders of the royal family. The founder of the modern Saudi state, Ibn Saud, had 45 sons, of whom 36 had children of their own. With so many descendants, there was a lot of competition for the throne. As a result, the history of Saudi Arabia has been shaped by the royal rivalries. To maintain some sense of unity in the dynasty, major family clans were given certain positions or institutions to govern. This patchwork created an informal system of checks and balances that prevented any single royal faction from dominating the country. As a result, major economic and political decisions were determined by consensus among the family clans. This consensus-based power system ensured the unity of the Saudi dynasty, and it functioned as a fundamental pillar of stability for the kingdom. The second pillar of stability was the dynasty's relationship with the religious establishment. By embracing conservative Wahhabi regulations, the House of Saud strengthened its legitimacy. Despite the two pillars of stability, getting everyone aboard a unified state was an exceedingly difficult task. Thus, to keep everyone in line, the Saudi kings decided to distribute energy revenues among the royal clans and the Wahhabi establishment. The ploy worked. The internal rivalries were still there, but people just get along better when there's enough wealth to go around. As such, energy revenues became the third pillar of the Saudi state, as it suppressed internal fighting. However, the pillars of stability now have run their course. The decline of oil prices has removed wealth from the equation, and this has exposed the vulnerabilities of the Saudi government. To ensure long-term domestic stability, the country must find additional sources of revenues, meaning Saudi Arabia needs to generate sufficient income from the non-oil sector to guarantee its existence. This is what everything comes down to. The previous monarchs knew about the necessary reforms but were unable to enact them due to the Saudi dynasty's consensus-based power system. So the kings passed the unfulfilled reforms from one king to another. This went on until King Salman, who handed the keys to the kingdom to his son bin Salman, which brings us to the modern situation. Since assuming the throne in 2015, King Salman has worked to strengthen the authority of his son. Today, Prince bin Salman leads a long list of institutions and government positions, so much so that many refer to him as Mr. Everything. The purpose of showering bin Salman with titles is to leave non-essential government bodies to the other family clans and thereby centralize the Saudi government. In fact, the Saudi kingdom has not seen such centralization of power since its first monarch, Ibn Saud. The difference, however, is that bin Salman has all the modern instruments of a state at his disposal, which the first king didn't have. In fact, bin Salman is already the most powerful ruler in Saudi history. By centralizing power, bin Salman hopes to reform the Saudi economy and create a sustainable non-oil sector. In one of his actions as the crown prince, he unveiled an ambitious plan called Vision 2030 to transform the kingdom into an advanced industrial power. For this to work, bin Salman must redesign Saudi Arabia from the ground up. First, he has to sell a part of the state-owned oil company, Saudi Aramco. This would generate the necessary funds to invest in the reforms. The flagship of these reforms is the Neom megacity, which we explained in the previous report. Potential investors in the Neom project will likely closely follow how the Saudi government proceeds with the prosecution of the accused, as well as the legal proceedings of the seized assets and funds. That being said, many Saudi princes see Saudi Aramco as their rightful piggy bank. Even selling a little as 5% of it is seen by many princes as a threat to their lifestyles. In addition to generating funds to implement economic reforms, bin Salman must also boost labor productivity by introducing drastic social changes. This includes the emancipation of women and their participation in the workforce and public life. These changes are necessary for any modern economy, but they are also incompatible with the conservative Wahhabi teachings. As such, bin Salman's efforts to modernize the kingdom is met with opposition from the Wahhabi establishment and the Saudi princes. With so many enemies about, it is likely that the crown prince felt threatened and preemptively acted on it. However, this is a risky policy. Pushing the religious establishment and the Saudi princes against the wall could backfire. A powerful opposition still exists, and desperate people usually hit back. Yet one group of people that has applauded bin Salman's purge is the Saudi youth, which makes up about 2/3 of the total population. In this regard, the Crown Prince is seeking to use popular support as a replacement for the historical pillars of the Saudi state. The problem, however, is that bin Salman is not an elected ruler. History shows that most authoritarian rulers who used populist methods ended up overthrown, since expectations rarely match with reality. Meaning, as bin Salman convenes his support in the Saudi youth, he will have to implement more and more reforms to keep the masses satisfied. Eventually, he could one day come face to face with reforms he is incapable of enacting, which could prove to be his downfall. This is why populism and authoritarianism rarely ever work. In the process of bin Salman's motions, Iran has been doing well. The country is on the winning side in the Syrian civil war, and its proxy group Hezbollah has strengthened its position in Lebanon. Moreover, Iranian-backed Houthi rebels are going strong in the civil war in Yemen, and Iran has forged close relations with Qatar. These developments have come at the expense of Saudi Arabia. A day before the purge, Houthi rebels in Yemen fired a ballistic missile at Riyadh. The Saudis intercepted the missile and claim it was produced by Iran. No evidence has been provided, but it is speculated that authorities in Tehran caught news of the impending crackdown and sought to aggravate the situation by creating chaos and confusion within the Saudi capital. Another interesting development is the resignation of the Lebanese Prime Minister Hariri, which also occurred on November 4th. Hariri is the highest-ranking pro-Saudi politician in Lebanon. His resignation is meant to break the coalition government in the country and weaken the position of Hezbollah. However, Hezbollah is so entrenched in Lebanese politics and security that its power is practically unrivaled. The only faction that can exploit a shakeup in Beirut is neighboring Israel. How bin Salman will fare with the foreign and domestic situation is uncertain, but what is certain is that Saudi Arabia is in decline, and no country can undergo domestic struggle and meet foreign challenges at the same time. The Crown Prince will have to make priorities. All in all, the historic pillars of the Saudi kingdom are no longer viable. Therefore, bin Salman must redesign the House of Saud and the balance of power within it. In this turbulent transitional phase, more political crackdowns, economic reforms, and social changes can be expected.